Hey, Richard Cameron here. Just Richard Cameron, not Coach Richard today. Coming to you with a personal story, something that has affected me deeply these last couple of days. I just thought I'd share it with you because we all know a little about flashbacks, I think. I think we do. I think we all do. I think we all experience them a little bit. But you couldn't help but have seen just the devastation that's taking place in Southern California, in the Pacific Palisades and up in Pasadena and down into Malibu and a few other areas. Just horrific, just terribly, terribly horrific. And it touches me personally because I went through exactly the same thing, in the same area in 1993, in November of 1993. I lost virtually all of my possessions, everything, my history and memorabilia from running and track and around the world, all the different things, the work that I'd done up in the bush and the Arctic and my furs and all those sorts of things burnt in a moment because of wildfires in canyons in Southern California. See, I just made my home very recently in the Malibu area. I'd come south from Santa Barbara. Things were changing. Career was going in a different direction. And in fact, when that fire took place, thank God, or maybe thought, no, thank God, it's hard to say as I look back. I was on the other side of the country examining a project with a medical instrumentation company. And an engineer came up to me and said, "You live out in California, right?" "Yeah, yeah, I do." "Whereabouts?" "Oh, kind of in the Malibu area, if you're familiar with that." "Oh, well, it's on TV right now. Come take a look." And back in the shop, I went and took a look. And there, right on the television, right from a helicopter on the other side of the country, is a picture of my home burning to the ground, burning to the ground. Raging fires everywhere. I was so concerned, not for my stuff at that time, but for the neighbors that I had just met, because I had only been in that Malibu area on Las Flores Canyon. It was called the Old Topanga Fire. I was on Las Flores Canyon, or Las Flores Mesa, which really is Las Flores Canyon. My neighbor up and around the corner was Roy and Barbara Orbison and some other guys that you probably are familiar with, and movie folks and stuff. I wasn't a movie guy. I was working my butt off. I was leasing this place. I didn't have any insurance. I didn't even think about it. I didn't have any renter's insurance. I didn't even think about it. And it was gone. Everything that I had really accumulated of any sense was gone. Except my memories, my thoughts. Oh, there was a few things that I shipped off to my parents back in Canada, just in my adventures and different things. I'd sent them little gifts and pieces and things. A couple I've reclaimed through the years that they've passed on. But the bottom line is this: is that flashback is as clear in my mind watching this today as it was back then. Maybe even a little bit more painful, because I really do feel for what these folks are going through. I've reached out to a number of my friends that live in that area. Some have moved on, kind of just outside of town. One very good friend and running buddy and teammate back in college, he lived right in the middle of Pacific Palisades. He's moved and gone on, but the people that I'd met through him in the time that he'd been there certainly were still there. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for them. It's heartbreaking if they've got kids and family. I didn't have that sort of thing. It was really about me. It's always about me, right? No, it's about me. But it's it's really hard not to go through flashbacks sometimes. And sometimes you have to embrace them. Sometimes you have to say, okay, what can I do and how can I help and how can I reach out to people that are around? And that's a little bit that I've been doing with some calls and things and see what's happening. People are doing okay or whatever. Say, get the heck out of there. Come on up to Canada. I got an extra room. Come on. It's it's terrible. It's absolutely heartbreaking and terrible. And you know it's terrible. You can just see the devastation. Can you imagine the disruption of the families and kids and things and all the things that they've got to go through in order just to sort of right their boat a little bit, just to move their life forward a little bit. And we're talking about a lot of people, like tens of thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know how many lives are going to be lost. I don't know. And it's going to be a mess. And I don't know how a lot of these people are going to put their lives back together, but I do know this, that it's possible because I did it. Yeah, I did. I got this device. It's wiggling back and forth. I have no idea why. Maybe I got to charge the battery. I don't know. But here's the thing. Is sometimes you have to embrace the flashbacks. Sometimes you have to embrace them. It sort of brings reality back, allows us to understand from whence we came and where we're going and the things we had to overcome to get there. But by God, what's happening there. And the saddest part of all is back in 1993, it was declared that they were going to deal with the issues that brought those wildfires in the first place. Oh, not the human part, not the assholes, not the just worthless human beings that were setting fires at the top of the canyon. I'm talking about the reason why it became such an inferno and going through between just miles and miles of eucalyptus trees. Boy, that oil likes to burn eucalyptus oil. But also just all the brush and the scrub and the things that, but even back then they weren't cleaning up. They were creating conditions for this to happen. And I call it creation. For whatever these doggone reasons are, and the Coastal Commission's going to be in there. You know, when I was going through this and stuff, I heard stories. Again, I wasn't there, but people running into the ocean, literally, because I overlooked the ocean, literally running down, going and having to get into the ocean at the edge of the beach because the flames were crossing over Pacific Coast Highway, burning buildings that were there. People had moved their belongings out onto the beach thinking they'd be safe, and they were catching fire, and people were running into the ocean to keep themselves safe, to keep themselves in a place where they were going to have their life still. Because in the end of the day, that's all we got. That's all we got is this, right? That's what we have. So I do, again, encourage you to do nothing more than embrace sometimes that history, even if it's a little painful, and understand that you can overcome it. I'm not talking to them right now. Oh, maybe a friend or two out there is watching this. My heart's out to you. And if there's some way I can help, you're going to let me know. And maybe I've talked to you already. Maybe we've talked about that before. But by God, you can get through this. Or you're going to wallow around in the misery of loss and forever be lost. We can't do that. We can't. There's a lot of living to do. And we can be grateful for the living that we have today and the opportunities that we can project into the future, and the steps we can take to grab hold of them. So please, 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 please embrace those little flashbacks, or sometimes they're major flashbacks, but embrace them. Be grateful of where you are today, because I certainly am, and be grateful for the future that you're carving out, because only you can do that. Even all the devastation, the travesty that can take place in your life, it's not good. All right. So that's it. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.